Okay, so we'll begin with the opening prayers on page 1 of the prayer book. And we'll do the prayers just once in English and once in Tibetan. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Page 3. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Samsara Page 4. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Page 5. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Page 6. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcending conqueror together with your disciples, please come here to this place. 7. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. And on page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings. They are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. Page 8, yes, so back for the Tibetan, page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, To all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharma Dhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest patensons, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones.
Through the power of faith and
Excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyekya Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attained Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And then page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Good afternoon. Maybe some areas good morning. Chính là thế, nó cho năm giờ lên thứ sáu cái chủ tọa cái các cái đã organize chỉ khi mà thực hiện cái train này sang gì mà là đó sang gì and Ningpo this teaching
So today and tomorrow, we have this teaching event, which is hosted by and has been arranged by Drupon Namgyaling in Tucson to have these 2 days with both teachings and practice. So the first day today we'll be doing Medicine Buddha, and then tomorrow we'll be focusing on POA.
Okay, make it straight, up and hip chakra.
I know I don't think it's because of how I'm holding it. Okay, maybe that's better. Can you hear okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's all. That's 가색을 추세야디 개침보 간리임바탕 자침보 간리임바디 챙기요레스 tindi인도다 조 갈스나 베나 맞은 지테 디나라 고 따지 세나리 지금 양만은 도움 세나리 tindi지 힘비효라 맞어 지 대원동계 양 고징성 힘바다 대외 규주 되게 좀도 요와다 지 대외 줄라베 대화세야 단리게 보고 있습니다 지 갈색을 참에게 레와세나데 참에게 레가세나데 보다 간리지게 지 베널로정 체아이나데 간리이나지다 조체쇼디 그 메센디 나라 지금 제 야보용이야 메시지보용이야 오다 들리지 그 참에게 진짜 그래와 요레스
So mainly, everybody here is probably already quite familiar, with like you understand the Dharma, you understand a lot about Dharma practice. But in general, when we think about the fact that, most everybody in the world, really all beings are propelled, are motivated by this desire for happiness. So everyone is deep down is seeking the same thing, which is happiness. And so everything that is done in life is really motivated by that effort to achieve happiness. So there's this hope, in everything that we do, and what one's course of study, one's profession, one's work, everything is sort of done or approached with this wish, this intention to find happiness and fulfillment. And so that's really, the hope that everybody is looking for a happy life.
어다 대가나 이게 이제 당아서 배는 넘바 다 넘바 지고 말이 되는지 다양 지원 대양 지부만 봐 근데 지와 치마양 거지 되고용 아직 상계 공방 톱투고 미위 있나요 당보들이다 상계 공방 톱이야 그래와 너리 기시다타 톱 미위 있나요 거지 지와라네 그 야르야 그냥게 tindiye 공가서다 레와 치기요레스
And then from the perspective of Buddhists, as a Buddhist, a practitioner, it's not actually that we're just looking for, that we're motivated by this hope, to be happy, to have a happy life. But we're also thinking long-term, with the long-term objective of ultimately awakening or Buddhahood. And if Buddhahood is not achieved in this life, at least, to create the conditions or the causes for a better life in the future. And beyond that, to have fortunate circumstances from lifetime to lifetime in which to practice the Dharma, and then for the end result there to be Buddhahood.
어디 틴디인도 다 이내야 맞아 틴디제케 너바 요리 이내야 보다 너바케 지 틴디제 세 대야 지부냐 제가 세치마야 지부냐 지 용초고요 대인도 다티 마요야게 고 첸스나데 다 obstacles나데 칸디제리스나 그렇지 랑게 줄을 유베케네 지 뇽몬바 에난도 자샤다 차도 라소 베케 테네 뇽몬바 어다 딜레 때네 디게 고지 단기 맞아 집기보다 내워드린 여기 열에 되네요 고 직대고 기본 마용이야 기본 마용이야 어다 들리지 가서 뇽몬 베케 지구요레스
So we have that hope, even though there's the wish, even though whoever it is, there's the wish to be happy. And oftentimes it doesn't necessarily always turn out that way. There are many things that, prevent us from feeling, truly happy and fulfilled. There are any number of different circumstances that might arise. There are obstacles that occur. There's also the torment of the afflictive emotions in our own mind stream, constantly feeling the friction of desire, anger, and ignorance. And so this is really what prevents us from being truly well at ease and happy. And so the real cause for our lack of happiness, first and foremost, are the afflictive emotions in our own mind stream.
Tati rangi jule yubi sem geda nyom duya ke ko tati ta peche mena ana to chu nyamlen chi ba la tene ji nyom bo tu gre ma to be ke tele lost churwa je ke je bena cha shawina saja shimba je len do ne ko nyom bo je ya maybe saja do je da yang mena yang ko je nga to da 직배향으로 뭔지 되지네 고 갈색 걸지 뭐 맞지야 직 잘하는 거지 너야 근데 이거 말이스
And so really the only way to achieve happiness is to apply the methods that we know, to practice the Dharma, and to really bring about a transformation inwardly in the mind. Apart from that, there's really nothing that can truly achieve this for us, this happiness. We're not going to find happiness if we, no matter where we try to go, if we think, if we go to some other place, some ideal location, that we might be able to find a place where all the conditions are such that we don't have any afflictions that arise. That is not the case. There's nothing that we can buy. There's no easy fix or trick. We can't buy something really expensive that's going to help us to, not have afflictive emotions.
다 디인들 맞춰지 가세버리 레당 모남 소남 딘디케고다 주체 덴더 망보 제레 때네 맞다 지금에 텐저지 물리세요 디지털 배나 자친 거 이바리 밀린데 배는 같은데 오지 지위나 지 물그 류된당 튼두 류된이 그 도르면은 간디지에게 고민을 또 치어와서 그래서 싫어 요거다 드리지 요 텐저지 물도 다 텐저지 물을 타봐자 말지 베게 기 토라 되는 거다 지 넘버 30배 추티 넘버 30배 추티네 다 Number Sanji be chuti, the number yin, say, no, jackie, young, chuti, what a nature. Koguyo. I can't show an idea. Koji, Dungi Mando Wati, could Dungi, Junyak, Jute, Moshi Watala, and of numbers, non big chuti. Learning, no. Tayang, teenage, no, but Tayang, too big here. Some big here, one big here, Latin, Kale, Karsina, no, but never, Soya. No, but Pontovia. Younger. That no more Pon said, Carlana, no more Pon said, Dungim was over. Dungin Jungsik here. Ganyan Jungsik here, never so. Tindy came as okay. Cock up top the water. I'm on it on a individually appreciable is Tatanji, Tirana Yiki, young, that Mambuji Chiriori, Tindu, Jatan, that Mitsendi Kinala young.
And so also in connection with karma and aspiration prayers and merit from former lives, only due to a very vast accumulation of merit in all of these conditions, then we have this condition of having a precious human rebirth with the leisures and endowments. So this is very, very precious and very rare. And we can think about, in comparing what it is to be born as a human to, for instance, what it is to be born as an animal in regard to those other beings that we can see, those other life forms that we can see that actually it is the human birth where there is so much more capacity there. The wisdom or the intellect of human beings is much greater than that of animals. So not only do we have all of the leisures and endowments and making a precious human birth, but we also have entered into the practice of Dharma. We have made a deep connection with the Buddha Dharma. And that doesn't just mean, thinking like having some familiarity with Buddhism and thinking I am a Buddhist. But it really is that it has become our life path. That in coming into contact with the Buddha Dharma, it actually becomes a method for us to overcome suffering, because we understand that there is nothing lacking there, that all that is needed to overcome suffering, to bring about the fruition, that the Dharma possesses that everything is complete. Jula Ngo Shepa Yabo.
That immediately around you what and Hako is.
Wrong la yoga.
Realize.
The kokap travel.
That kokap was a change to top down.
And so in really understanding how extraordinary this situation is, what our opportunity is to recognize what we really have, then this also becomes an inspiration that spurs us to deeper learning, to deeper contemplation and practice. And we engage in the path through applying the aspects of study, contemplation, and meditation. And so our wisdom increases, the wisdom through study, through contemplation, and through meditation. And little by little, the afflictive emotions diminish. Little by little, we abandon or purify the afflictive emotions. And as we do so, then we become free of suffering. And so it really is an extraordinary opportunity, an inconceivably precious opportunity. And so it's so important to appreciate that, as Drupon says, he often says.
어떻게 이 지용차네 나 저거지 이 캔킨디나네 콜레카 치고야 뭐지 용구요와 레카 치고요레 양 레카 치고요레 로병 치고요레 딱고지 차양만 지도 보고 뭐지 요레 미친디나나 리디 따트도 참아 레카도 참아 바빠네 초지부 치야게 또 딱만 좀 거감로지 용구요마 이래야 그 뒤당 넘버 주들라 추트세다 priority 추트 늦게는데 레카 통보지 샤고
And of course, we have a lot of other obligations, responsibilities, things that we have to do in life. We have to work, we have to study, we have all of the things that we have to take care of. And so it's not as though maybe, we don't have a situation where we can just completely reject all these things or abandon these things and just focus 100% on Dharma practice and nothing else. We can't, it probably wouldn't be wise to give up our jobs and so forth. But we can make Dharma our priority. We can actually make this the most important thing in our lives so that it always comes first. And that the Dharma is really our what always comes first, what is really always first and foremost in our deepest priority.
What are the reason? Jumsan Karisan and Confusion. Also, there was nobody. They ju money that choosing Drupon. Can be Jumsan then? Priority that's actually have worked.
And the reason why it only makes sense actually to make it our priority is that this is truly what is going to make us happy. This is what will bring us happiness and well-being. And so it's simply for that reason that it really should be the most important thing.
But they were one sincerely, 대단한 마중이네요. 고지와네, 고지와 세람네, 즉 상하로서 야로 그렇지. 다르요. 상지도 이렇게 고주치고요. It's true.
And not only that, it's not that the Dharma, is it's not only that it will really be the cause for our happiness, or that it's really the cause of true happiness, but that we really can actually reach the state of Buddhahood. We can attain awakening through the practice of Dharma. And if we don't reach awakening in this life, it still then becomes the cause for our eventual awakening. It then becomes a cause to carry one, into greater and greater opportunities for practice and ripening from lifetime to lifetime, so that our lives just become kind of better and better, or purer and purer, until we actually do attain Buddhahood.
근데 다变到지 차샤이나 냠낸 진행도지 다 이미나 지금 같은 지캔디나네 고지 땅아서 콜바라고 콜바텔라 다지 코르트 간디진 콜브레스라위나 근데 지금 아주 방법 기초원도지네 근데 지 기계 보지 안봉아 틀리지 기 안봉아기 들을 때니 고마서다 시기 유응하는거지 통지 들려요 근데지 그 자동으로지 깨고요 대리 지금 콜반디나면 코르트비 휴라 근데지 양 용바 맞아야 답시체라는 거지 근데 용구요 말
가리마치야 뉴몬바
맞아야 돼 그다 용구요 말 용바 깨고요 얘네야 용모바 깨차비 휴라 용모바디 how dealing them 다 간디지 치고 살아 용모바 냠들 거지 마나마 손 쟁이 거지 뇽바티 quantum mandova 뇽바티 quantum mandova 세나 칼라고요 이나 뇽몬베기 주티 능이로 능이 맞지와지 아주 소토리아기 다시 요래라야 다시 지고요 yes.
And so, for example, for somebody who is a practitioner, even though we are born in the world, we live in the world, which we refer to as samsara. So we call this samsara. But what is samsara? What is it that sort of... Which is literally cyclic existence. So there's something, so this word core, which means like turning, like a wheel turns. And so what is this sort of turning or this cyclic process that is being referred to here? Because once we're born, for instance, as a human being, or we're born into the world, and we have all of the functioning of the senses, the 5 sense faculties, and then in dependence upon the 5 sense faculties, we have the outer objects, the objects of the senses, and the faculties making contact with the objects of the senses. Then there's the constant arising, the never-ending circle of like the endless wheel of attachment and aversion, being attached to one thing, being averse to another thing, pulling towards, pushing away. It's this endless process of just being caught and liking and not liking. And so therefore, based on that, all of the sort of subsidiary afflictive emotions build upon that or arise. And so in this way, as we are embodied within samsara, as sentient beings in samsara, there's no way to get rid of this, to stop this process. There's no getting rid of the afflictive emotions. They are destined to arise. However, once they have arisen, how do we deal with them? The way, there is a way to deal with them. So for instance, when afflictive emotions arise, not being completely swept away or brought under the power of the affliction and giving it strength by buying into it, then we can also cut the suffering that comes as a result. So the method there is a method to not suffer so much as a result of the afflictions.
medicine related so nasa di kariorsana jikin docha kanasa hedan kanasa timo kanasa jiyorwa otita nasa ju tumyendi suri slavina jik sanji tan kontiyo tambe chu the chat te
And so you may wonder, you may ask, what does this have to do with the medicine Buddha? And so there is actually, so the medicine Buddha is like the antidote to all illness. The medicine Buddha is the one who pacifies illness. But specifically, when we consider the afflictive emotions, these are in fact an illness. So mainly that this is a practice that can pacify or can cut through the afflictive emotions that stem mainly or can be subsumed into the 3 poisons of desire, aggression or aversion or hatred, and ignorance or stupidity. Mental dullness.
That same doctor kita only temperature go doctor Tabiayan yo marilaya, Hedon Malaya, Manji Tisadi, Yungimendo. Tindu, Chimoni China, Docha Hedonti, Jutila, Karsina, not a physical better. Not a huge is.
And so if we really think about it, we can't, it's not like we can go to a doctor to treat our anger. If we go to the doctor and we say, I'm a really angry person, I have this problem with anger, apart from like giving us advice, on how to practice the Dharma, there's not much that the doctor would be able to do. He can't give us medicine to, just like cause anger to not arise.
Yes. Just knocked it out.
But then increasing the ignorance,
Yeah, psychological medications and so, so physical, it's physical, not so shoot. Oh, and actually anger is a greater affliction, a greater illness than any physical illness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tindi Benacha Havina Bena Hedan Roji Yuvina, Hedan Shuk Chimbu Yuvi can dribble Bena Samutanvina, Antony, Jachimano, Kunyason Jemba, Yungro. Yina Yang, who look not at the book and you're going to take the Hero. Tomato Bake, tea can not take Nyason Timber, you will. Timmy in Biko, Jita morning.
So, for instance, if we have anger, then anger, the worst that anger can do for us is bring us down to the hell realms, which is pretty bad. But if we're physically ill, if we're sick, the worst that it can do is kill us in this life, which is not as bad as what anger can do. And so really, there's no illness greater than the illness of anger or hatred.
Particularly, Tandanga to some of Amina, Tandik to Della Moni Numobalaya, Jaya Lelo. Teranaji Kikuji, Nomo Bachesa, Pay Champion Modes. Tinije get all a Tambichu and Mivina, Nangatuji, Kanye, Teanoji, Kanye, Tegiore, Matang, Pekani, Kanye Tegiore, then there go Teak, Shendo, the Huchim Buyores. Tandik to Tula. Benachavina, Tandinga to Tunes Rotanda. Right now.
Oh, right now, tune.
Carcinang, no, but Jayaki, you see you, Bena, Bemamboyores. Tirana Yikita, individually, though some of them Ranso Chinata, which you Tiva Tao, Nampo Tao, Tindiji, you wake up, with JC Yula Yore, Coaching Koran Kanzala, the Coachia Lela is Tindu. Kesi Tambek to district same Marang Karchi, Mativina, you must be the Karsata, become president of the channel.
So there are so many outer conditions that could potentially become the cause for any number of afflictions to arise. There's never any shortage of conditions that could provoke afflictive emotions. It's very easy to give rise to afflictive emotions. Even in a place where there are relatively few kind of negative conditions. So for instance, even when like now during this session, there are a number of things that could potentially become a provoking cause of affliction. And then apart from that, everybody has their own kind of all their own unique sets of discursive thoughts and propensities and like, stresses and sort of when, for instance, everyone's often in a hurry. And so there's always these conditions that arise in all circumstances that can provoke any number of afflictive emotions. So it's very easy to give rise to afflictive emotions. It's relatively very difficult to pacify the afflictive emotions, to not give rise to afflictive emotions. And since the Dharma is our method to pacify afflictive emotions, this is why it really has to be foremost in the mind at all times.
Big difference. Jechina Tigala, Nyumo Banyu, Yujirawa, Kansa Sosola, Yinayang, who Tatsu charismatic destruction road, by the Nyung is. Janitary, Nina Carsinata, Sanjiga, Kazam, Dharmapada, Labudua,
Gampopa?
No, Dharmapada. La Katan Labson, in a Tidu, Marchita, 100% the Injimarwa, Yinayang. One Tinichi do, one is arching shooters on Low Chung Jung Tindi, put up more. To so Latini, Tambo Chunya Meche, Gomja, Yomoba Candis, Duber, Tinichi, Tinichi, Tamakon, Junju, the tops, the Lab, Tini, I didn't cross him, what I'm crossing with start Chansa Jabs, or Chansa Jabdua, Chansa Jab, cross him. Yinaya, that is Simbi Kabla, cross him, your Chansa Jabi. Yinayang, who 100% Karsana, new want to wonder what you don't, how to dealing the new Matakoji, Lakchan Masan Chatham, Yorwa, Tin do Benamatundo Chashavina, that humble judo, Tobio Mari, Tambo Gonima, Korean on a Chietadu, Michi, Carsegore, not all like indeed Carsegore, Lakchasena, Tamdo Tita, your maris.
And so it was very different. Things were very different during the time of the Buddha. And there was a big difference between, what society or what the world is like now compared to what it was like then. The distraction was much, all of the sort of distractions were greatly diminished. Life was at a much slower pace. And you may remember, from the teachings in the Dhammapada, that there seems to have been, during the time of the Buddha, it was often the case that those who entered into the practice early on, there were many who did not necessarily take up the robes, and become bhikshus or take ordination, but actually became lay practitioners, and some of them who were even before age, the age, but they hadn't even come of age and were not ready to marry yet. But they met the Buddha, inspired by the Buddha, they listened to the Dharma, and they actually entered the level of stream entry. And it was after they entered the level of stream entry that then they would often end up getting married. And so they would actually decide to live a worldly life. They would sort of take up samsara, as they say, but because they were at that level, where there was no chance of being really overtaken by the afflictive emotions, that because they 100%, at that level, there's no possibility to be fully overwhelmed by the afflictions. So therefore, there's the full capacity to deal with them and to throughout one's life, build upon the virtue, go from virtue to greater virtue, and to continue to accumulate merit and progress through different stages. And so it was like having a guaranteed sort of ticket, like a passport. Or no, Natso Lacha Gikorla Garilai.
Marita Tirawa, Carsenaji, Nyom Jetum, Juju Seagiwa, or the Juju Sea, the Carla Warsana, Dor Duty Shubina 나서 단단 용몽비 완전 치고 기시 해당하나 나서 라마요 말이 타도라나 라마요 말이 아 강다리야 즉 삼상가서 능이요 세 야면의 워리어 그래서 효치 뭐고 이는 양다 준효지 파를 야는 거고 그래서 즉 용몽비 강야 처만 오지 그 용마다 어찌지 즉 효치 제대 제거지로 출거지로 이는 양고 파 공성 야는 거 맞고 서로 가는 거 두고 말이지 나 드리기 더 비네 되고
So penadinda de chuo de na mardo giona de yardo to panangshin gidunda la kyuvedela.
근데 너보다
Oh, okay.
이는 양다
Nyala yimbe.
어
Nyala yimbe. Nya fish. Gayang la yimbe. Oh, okay. Kimsa. Okay. Okay, yine yang hakoson. So the difference, it's so different, the time when the Buddha was teaching, and then these days, because, did I already write all that? Yeah, sorry. Okay, I didn't undo. So this stream entry, this level of stream entry, which is Sotapanna, I think in Pali, and I can't remember what it is in Sanskrit, but anyway, it is where the afflictive emotions can no longer overwhelm one. They can no longer be the ones in control. So in our case, often, we become completely taken over by the afflictions. So when anger arises, when jealousy arises, when we, fall into a state of torment or suffering or sadness, becoming worried or anxious, it's that, the afflictive emotions have this power to overtake us. But when one has reached the level of stream entry, then it's the other way around. There is no possibility for the afflictions to completely overtake you. You are always able to overtake or control the afflictions.
Yes. 제가 나이다 가르치나 데려와. 나한테 가르치려고 열라나? 지 샘기 주지 열와. 샘기 주지 가르치나? 테네지 빼나 갈래 가르치나 샘데 효 가르쳐서나 지 Sentient 통치야 들어가는 거지. 야나 지 맞아 다 땜발라고 그래. 원반적으로. 테네 지 상지 땜발서 다지. 딘두데나 근데지 나오는데 섬노 마토베 계직다 나 나그리 나는 가르치기들 나 시그리 너지 되게되네 로드 칼리 매바 차고도 MBA 가는 간데 지치고 Sentient 노는 간데 지치고 뭐다 드리지 때문에 뭐 쇼되고 있어요.
And what really facilitates, the ability to get there, is changing the focus away from oneself to instead being concerned for others. So slowly, little by little, to really be inclined to develop the inclination to be mostly concerned about the other's welfare and not so much concerned about oneself. Because ordinarily it is from this self-centered attitude that keeps the cycle going, because it's always like me, we're only thinking about ourselves. And what is happening for me, how I am winning or losing, and so forth. And so instead to change that focus so that the concern, the self-absorption, the self-obsession is less, it diminishes, so that really the concern is more frequently directed toward concern for the welfare and benefit of others. Rebe.
So yeah, we ordinarily, so we have concept. So what happened in future, So we really deeper way how we look on mind. So depending is how labor the practice. So not everyone's not same. So like less practitioners, we can say. So they are thinking about, okay, normally we thinking like future, right? Mostly thinking future. So then we start, okay, or what happening, future finance or financially, or maybe I say, may I die, or may this problem does come, this come. So interesting thing is that's much you thinking about our own wish, and the same way is the more difficulty suffering comes. So higher level, like I said the higher level practitioners. Then, so particular aging comes. They're more like they are lamas, thinking lama. They're more devotion to lamas. And then whatever this they call Temba Bombalak or monastery or community. So only this. So slowly, they die and almost diminish their sub-grasping, sub-interest. So that means there are no suffering, So actually recently, I think is after the Lava teaching one, the Chanchoblin monk, he passed. So he's at 83 years old. So he's long time. So so we work on leadership, in the Chanchoblin. So also his personality is always thinking like what need holiness, and what need Chanchoblin. That's it. I think he's other things he no interest in, go to restaurants or spend money, even though he's told me he has some money, so he's like senior monk. So in the Ladakh, so people offering to him, so he has some money, he said in bank. So they told me, okay, so he said, I never used a penny, my money, his money. So because some future, and maybe monastery needed money, maybe holiness enough to support the monks. So he never using penny. So like always thinking like monastery and holiness, So he said he never used a penny. So he got the food, from monastery. And then, so that's his kind of, actually he passed. So he was in Ladakh. So he's just kind of like say, so then sometimes he's saying, so sound like just wake up, oh, I am Chanchoblin, right? I am Chanchoblin. But he's not in Chanchoblin, in the Ladakh. So that's sort of he really wake up, oh, I want to go to Chanchoblin. So then I think they did, bring to the Chanchoblin, he got there. So he actually passed the Chanchoblin. So Then he chanchol got he's very happy, no cancer, anything, you know, like for what he gets something he expected, you know, cured his sickness or want to go to hospitals or medicine, no at all. So also lucky he passed a really special way. So one day, I think he just bet maybe still he can just people bring wheelchair and they go to monastery circumambulations. But like 3-4 days, then he just in the bed. But one day, I think he's practice and the main yidam is the Yamadaga. So then this he told you know just okay read the Yamadaga practice. So also I think his relatives were his senior monks, you know, so he did the like Yamadaga lineage pairs. So the lineage pair, end of lineage pair, there is like root or lineage lamas. So got there, he just passed. So actually same way as my father too, you know, so he, not a Yamadaga, but kind of similar. So that way is actually I saying is that is there no suffering, you know. Why?
There's no suffering at the time.
And he not thinking about he don't thinking anything or die or sick. So that's why
So
he's not
not,
suffering.
he's not dwelling on the fact that he's sick or that he's going to die. He's
Right.
not thinking about it.
So normally we have difficulties or suffering is we don't want to sick, you know, we don't want to die. But then is how we die, or maybe there are problems, you know. So if you're really worried, then maybe difficult to, you know, really suffering. So really is that, you know, Dharma is really special. This is real medicine, you know. So like, I thought that is really special, you know, just method is just chanting. That's medicine. So we here in hospitals, people dying, they give the what called, I don't know, the sleeping pill.
Medicine. They give.
That's not
Hospices.
really medicine, actually, right?
We have TV on.
It's
Maybe possible keep pain, but also this, I don't know, put the sleeping, whatever. That's
just knocks people out.
and then what it benefit life. So, but in the practitioners, you know, so that's because of Dharma. Dharma is medicine, you know. Dharma is doctor. Dharma is medicine, you know, Buddha. So they can cure, you know. There are no issues in that. And same thing, he feels, you know, this is really more, he knows, you know, he knows dying, and close to that. That's no 100% he knows. But same time, he's only thinking Lama and monastery, that's it. So there is no pain and no suffering. So that's why I think like the medicine, I thought this really medicine is, you know, Dharma is medicine and the Dharma is like medicine, Buddha. So that's Thinley Terita, also the in the Tan Contua Nagiri Thinlita, Chick Natsuke, Chick Mitsindi Kanana, Career Slavina, Chick naturally Karsana, Nato Nagre, Manaya Ketashi, Yomare. 이는 가서 개인도 그래. 되네 갈래 신도 그래. 진리지 기타 고 가서 그렇지. 시야당 나야데 고 마로 마도 비게 지 뇽뇽 뭐야 말아. 그 피지컬로 와. 다데 고 내추럴 와. 랑지데. 진리 인데 다디 지금 마히야 기타 치야는 거지. 또 만나야 기타 치야디. 거다 마시고지 차디거레스.
So in this way, for all of us in our life, it is natural that we will get sick. There's no way to avoid this. It's natural that we will die. There's no way to avoid this. We're all getting closer and closer to death. Little by little, we will get closer and closer to death. We will experience illness more frequently. There's no way that we're going to, as we age, the possibility for illness increases. It's not going to decrease. And so, and we can't go backwards. We're only going forward. And so there's really no, if we think, there's some way I can avoid sickness, there's some way I can stave off death. This is obviously delusional. There is no way, it's inevitable.
In a physical level, I'm not top here. Your marriage, that top was chiggy in a top here. Your marriage. In a young top, you have not to be. Thank you, Conchu and I. Jibundo scenario, Dubundo Seake, Nyongen, similar. This same in who sent the Drupon your
But how much we suffer, through these processes of illness and death, that we have control over, because the one that experiences pleasure or joy, the one who experiences pain or suffering, is really first and foremost the mind. And so we can bring about a transformation. We can change our mind. That's our only opportunity.
다 가르고 위어리세나. 나도 라이프라 increasing 차투그 말이 되네요. 나도 샘게 토니 지 냠렌틀라 코지 키아타니고 같이 임바 더 잠지 나도 지 샘게 냠렌틀라 increasing 잘하지. 근데 다시 제트레스.
And so life increasing cha. So even though we can't avoid death, we can't we can't increase our lifespan at least by all that much. We can change the capacity of our mind to hold the experience of illness and death without without suffering. And so really the best thing that we can do is really practice and preparation for illness and death.
So we are alive, maybe we're decreasing, but same time, so okay, life decreasing, maybe the month, right? Or maybe
So
second, who knows, but so same time, we have to do is we practice increasing, like for instance, your practice maybe, I don't know, 2 hours a day, or maybe, so these two device, so they're just
What's that?
day goes, so okay, you
The day goes
today,
by.
okay, today you 2 hours, and tomorrow you build up, tomorrow 2 hours, but still you build up the 4 hours, right? And the next day 6 hours, and
It's cumulative.
so that is just kind of so then slowly, if that comes, you inner merit, your inner practice. So just really the preparation. So that's how to really focus, the most important part. And that's one thing. Two thing, second is, okay, now I live, okay, I can do whatever I want, right? Normally we say, so what you can best or benefit, like monastery or benefit others. So that is the most important part. So sometimes we maybe do relatives after die, maybe relatives do the, give to pujas everywhere, prayers everywhere. But there benefit, for benefit.
I don't understand.
Mhm.
Did everybody understand that? Maybe relatives give to pujas.
I said this, we are live. Okay, we are live.
Okay.
We are
While
live.
we're alive. Mhm.
So we are live. So we do a special Dharma practice. Whatever need to do it, not wait. Okay. So I saying we die actually too late, Maybe our relatives, our friends do the prayers,
Oh, okay.
this and that. That's okay, they benefit, but not get 100% because not we are doing, other people's doing.
Mhm.
So right now, as much as possible, our life. So
While we're alive. Mhm.
and whatever need to or practice, and whatever these activities, So activities for of benefit for others, or whatever, or center, or monastery, or community, or like that is nothing loose. So most important part, so as much as possible. So these two things we can. So I think other than say we cannot not, I don't want to say we try to stop sickness, not work, I try to aging, you can spend money, that's one, but
Facelift.
not really because maybe. But so that's I think Theravada. Kuchi goya that a kitchen bodies. The mother bake it and contribute na yellow. Mount Balaji Nagre, Jig Sagre, say something. And where your mother.
So it's just so important to use the time, while you have it, during your life, while you're alive, to really make practice your priority and deeply, engage in Dharma practice. And also, we just know that illness and death will come. So it also doesn't do any good. We shouldn't be worried about what will happen in the future. Like maybe in the future I'll get sick. Maybe in the future I'll die. We already know that we will, right? But don't worry about it, basically.
Don't think about it, okay? But real preparation is a practice, But some people say they ignore, oh, I don't want to hear that. No, that is not, So, but that's not like that award, I don't want to hearing those things.
You don't
But
want to avoid it.
also, I think some people worried, Actually, sometimes the worry is that no make sense anything. Okay. Yeah, we probably say, but or something kind of create, okay, what happened? I say, why old, what happening, This is that. So that's there really is the kind of imagination. So, so I say, yes, you can do. You right now. Maybe you want to see the doctors, or that's fine. You take medicine, that's fine. You can do that, but no need to worry things. This disturbing actually. So yes, you can remember all future what happened. You sometimes it might come out, right? Or maybe say, oh, okay, yeah. So that means I need to practice. Or maybe I will die. Okay, so the thoughts arise, then
Practice.
just practice. But no details, what comes, what I do that time, what do you do this time. No. Then that and then at sadhana theory, Jitanga, Natsati, Jitan Natsadi, physical Natsada, Jitan Namjuno China, Nerik Hijats again, the Volabita, Natsan Ramandala,
Nere katse.
Hibjatan, Heyore is Lavota. They do the page. I think they don't know page number, but the second before the mentor. Actually, this is right.
Oh, sorry. That's why you're So then with the sadhana, so we have, it's mentioned, for instance, before on the second page, before the mantra recitation, it mentions, it's the line just above the mantra recitation, it mentions the 424 types of illness afflicting sentient beings. So it's actually Jijat Sabji, Saji, Nishit Saji Marebe. Drupon mentioned Dorje and Lapson, Nishit Saji, Lapson.
I think this is 4.
Okay, so he thinks it should be 404 types of illness, not 424.
That's not a deep project. Devotion of Shechigyoris. Tendutine, when a Nasa Jig, Jigta, also Jig, Jian of Tilitene, Nasa Jata Jig Yungiwaris. Matajitan Marta, Nasa Jigta. That Nasa Jigte, that Jian is somebody. Nasa Kashitang, Kunta the main dane, main dane, could not a judge Yungiwaris, Yad Majati Yungiwaris. Kunta like the Kuntasana.
Yini ang tiki tunda ganda yung panas.
Not a judge or what judge, not a Hibjala Yorwa. Okay. Tilla, Karsana Kunta Latin, judge Yoris.
So first, like if you divide this into 4, so you have 101 that are referred to, that are based on conditions arise from particular. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So they're called. So the word that is given is kuntak, which is usually translated as imputed. So kuntak de ming teba gidinda daworebe.
Mari kuntasana. So this is not really sickness, but you see this looks like sickness.
Psychosomatic, like in the mind.
Yeah, mind. Yes. So, like for example, also we have some experience. So okay, somebody we see maybe sick. He got cold, maybe running nose or whatever, coughing. Then immediately next person looks like he's sick. I got the scope.
So mind created illness, it sounds like, yeah.
Right. So that's kind of thing. So just sometimes even some people thinking, just I'm sick, not feeling well, I'd say, but really very sick, that maybe tired, but let's say, or so also this sometimes, I eat this one, maybe say, or I meet that person, maybe I say. So those kind of many really sickness, not real sickness. So just mind create,
Sometimes you wonder when, yeah. Can I empty la pen mambo drug and you're the empty la drug
Yeah. So this also I want to see the doctor or take medicine.
People
sometimes
go
how much
to
you
the
take
doctor all
medicine,
the time and
So that's a kind of issue too. So really not say, but I want to eat this one, maybe better. I want to this one, it's better, or this vitamin, this and that. That means they're sick, but really not sick. So that's kind of like, I think 101. And the 101 is that's the Jian. That's Jian, and we Jian will take it up. Jian will take it. Not on board or Jian take this.
Is that like contagious, like gune?
Yeah, that is called Jian condition. Then it go.
So then,
condition like contagious usually. Sawala then and nagre, Tomola then and nagre, Kalala then and nagre, Kalumani nagrua, Chamajagre, nagrua.
So then there are 101 illnesses that arise or occur based on conditions that are created from conditions that could be like a contagious diseases or like illness that is created from conditions of heat or cold and dampness. The illnesses that come as a result of food, particular foods, or
She would like spirits or local beings be included in that category? Like maybe like beings who inflict illness on others? Is that not included?
Maybe, this condition,
could be in either one, either of the two categories, it sounds like,
And that Jada Jigti, Tangato Tereko Jig Le.
And then another category I have 101 is actually karmic illnesses that are specifically karmic.
Tene tati ta jada chekte gahi chanyom la gore gahi ta tuni be ni dugja be call now la nga tene
So chanyom sana
gahi chanyom sena kutani nasa Europe activation
like pandemic. And so then there's 101 which are like sort of specific to the times that are like temporal illnesses like COVID, for instance, that are also really kind of like plagues, like plagues or epidemics that really sort of spread often globally, like pandemics. The Chungchungi le draw.
Le chung lower,
The midsummer do commonly. Yeah, can be, yes.
Or that the Jatanga that Natatilla, that category Halloween, mini 101, 101, a young Sigma, in a young Koji. Division of China, Koji, Jen Shinnet and the young is.
So it's not as though these are like hardened categories. It's like there's some sort of fluidity to them and they can kind of cross over, but in general it is kind of based on these four conditions, these four kind of types of cause that illness arises out of.
That thing is that when another tamboti, number to so they are taking, man, the caricha, the loving. That's not one chair, two chair, the chatting.
And so with this first category, the only medicine, because it has come as a result of, thoughts and concepts, is meditation.
And then the last one, karma, tell a young, what I think Malan said. Not on the which case now in 100%, magic, doctor, Matoviki, Taki Mewan, some Tangra, Tindimaris.
And it's important to sort of move away from the tendency, like to think that, anytime we get sick, the only way to deal with it is going to the doctor and taking medicine and getting some sort of course of treatment, that's the only way to deal with illness.
So that's not. So Tamaris, the for deviation. Chadi or is still chick and the contribute, Janet, Danning or Natanayata. Yes, not to know it, that they not Dr. Dan Google, man's out Google is.
Now, often it is necessary to go to a doctor and to get treatment and medicine, maybe about 50% actually of these conditions are such that it is necessary to cure them through medical treatment, through seeing a doctor and taking prescribed medicines.
That last 100 years, Karsena young, who later, not so. Dubajan, Tini Majivina, another tattoo more. Teaching is.
And then the last category, which is the 101 illnesses that are karmic, then the way to deal with that is mainly through gathering the accumulations and purifying obscurations.
Tibetan medicine, Chitanda, who did not a shin the Tayak cheat no so we are the Spanish Havina, make Zanoji, Govina, Zati Govita, Nardaya. Tirana, you concan Koraya, to take something him by the panto to be a doctor no women. Tindy a chiggy or is.
And often, actually Tibetan medicine can really be very potent, very powerful, because it also combines Dharma. Like often the doctors who give Tibetan medicines as part of their practice, as a medical practice, they recite mantras over the
How to pick up the plants, Lord.
as they harvest the plants, and then as they make the medicine. And they also are, there is part of their wish to benefit sentient beings is one that is really connected with their spiritual practice, with their dharma. And so therefore, in treating patients, they're also, bringing that into it. And
that is the man
and then once they've made once they've made the medicine, they accomplish, they do the practice. They
so we're blessing
so it's part of the, like, just like when we get medicine, or we get like Dutsi, like the pills that we take for Dutsi, and they talk about the Dutsi having been accomplished, like there's an accomplishment practice. It's like a consecration, essentially. Yes. So that is what the doctors also do with the medicine.
That's all because the polar young or Lama Mamboji, Dr. Chadi is.
So there's a story that once in Tibet, a lot of lamas became doctors.
Lama no ina ko responsibility shui or te yo de ko shui je ke pe ha sa ya ke me la ke pa tin yo sa maris.
And for lamas, there are often a lot of responsibilities. So it's not as though they, like during that time, they're able to study much about medicine. No.
Not medicine. Ina ta ko less responsible.
So the doctors, those who were just the medical doctors, have a lot of time to really focus on their study of medicine. They just like stay in the, in their clinic or their the place where medicine is practiced, and they study very intensively. However, even though that is the case, the lamas who created medicine at that time, it was found that the medicine was actually more powerful that the lamas made than those who had been spending all that time practicing medicine and were making or studying medicine and made the medicine.
That is Jumseni Yoris. Kote lama di morning corona ma service tako karso chip on VK in Keba Tendi Maritina yang chip men sanya corona ki lama yi somebody teleteba tang yi chindo chik tang. Tigana yi ke chip lama corona yang chip men drop ne. Koji nasa teza mazi beke chip pagi na denga kanza tala chip kule tang yomo ti chansho sambike chip tindi ju chibi ki Jumsen tala dene. Koji lame men.
And so this is really probably a combination of factors that created this. One being that those patients who took the lama's medicine also had a lot of faith and devotion. And then, of course, the lamas who made the medicine really did so, with a deep level of practice, making aspiration prayers, that the person who takes it, that their karma and their illness may be purified. So therefore, this medicine, what became especially potent or powerful.
Individual person, not only rely on pedagogic. Doctor Jig down, man jig with Maimba. Satan Yam Lutine, Jig Danada, Gom Jaya, not Daya. Tinity told at the magic go doctor there, Mansaya Yuna. Koji Tani Contiona Yiri could not take it to, not a chatan, he just like the potato is.
And so, the reason for his saying this is that, it's important to not only rely to just like completely put our confidence in like the medical establishment, or like, it's only doctors and medicine that will help me with illness, because that's definitely not the case. There's a tremendous amount of benefit that can come through the power of practice, meditation, dharma, and blessings. And that this angle, or this approach is effective actually for all of the categories. So all 404 types of illness. And actually, for those who like study medicine, it is understood or it's said that there's kind of the basis from which all the different types of physical illness arise, which are actually connected with the poisons, the afflictive emotions. So really the basis or the foundation for arising of all ailments are the afflictions of desire, anger, and ignorance.
That benefit na matotela ji nyong ba thok som phike tene ngasoji ngasoju la ta japan compound by 5 elements wa 4 elements to ji ngaso jungwa hila thok ne tene lu na gi yes.
So nyomong ba dug sum dang de jungwa je la dawa ka ya po
chi tang ta ti ji la karwa yina yang karsnada yana ta ti ha ko mar chi ngong bo sha ta benefit sha na hedan se ya de jetang hedan se ya de ko jungwa meres jungwa me te la tene tene ngaso chba da ni lung ti fe ken la wa chba ba yo re o te je yo ta tele tene tene ya na sa tene sawe na ja da je yo yes.
So all of these three poisons are also connected with the 4 elements. So for instance, when as a result of or connected with the afflictive emotion of anger or hatred, then there can be caused a disruption in the element of fire. And then in dependence upon this disturbance of the element of fire, it causes the bile to increase. And so then you have, for instance, the 101 types of illness that are connected with heat, like the heat illnesses.
Phlegm or we can
and then ignorance or mental, it's actually more appropriately mental dullness, is connected with the element of earth. So then as a result or because of the mental propensity of mental dullness, there's a disturbance in the earth element, which then creates an inflammation of the phlegm or an increase in the phlegm element. And leads to 101 types of phlegm related illness or
not saliva, but it's mucus.
I know.
Maybe it can be
No,
long.
the earth is the element, but the phlegm is.
The phlegm,
She's
it can
asking
also be called an element, but it means like the phlegm, because there are these, they call them cum, which is also sometimes translated as elements, but 2 different types of elements here. So yeah, so go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I was
that's
just
fine. No, you were asking, did you want to ask the question? I think you say is phlegm an element? And
Right,
Yeah.
so just recapping, the mental dullness has a relationship with the earth element,
Mhm.
and then you link it with the phlegm.
Right.
And I go, oh,
Right, so this basically okay, we have there are ngatu ke tatelams. Ngatolan junga ke thobi yorwa sa chu me long junga ke thobi yore supotela. Tiniji yodi tini kotemo he chembo ne sak pe he chembo. Jiri ngazo ta pe ni kuya ni to chaya leka lema to ya ta tini ko chimbi te chagres. Te chabi kala ta e kenki slabro. Te nangres ya ta.
Yiniyang pena they come di so ya bokogi samare pena the bacon dang sawa dang So he said in general, so we have the four elements that are the outer elements, right? And then we have the these inner, which are also translated as elements sometimes, but they're two different words in Tibetan, but they're, so another way to translate them might be constitutions, inner constitutions. So, so is this afflictive emotion of mental dullness is connected with the outer element, or the element in the earth element, and then this becomes something that triggers an imbalance of what we call the constitution or element of phlegm in the body, which is not just mucus exactly, but it kind of is connected with like sloth and torpor and sleepiness, like feeling sleepy and feeling lethargic and bored, not wanting to do anything, not wanting to work. This is kind of connected with this imbalance in the phlegm, phlegm imbalance.
Tene chado le long yung grace ta long la long le ta chado de long ji gro long le chulbe ki tene ya ta nata yadang je yung grace.
And then there's the element of wind, which is specifically connected with jealousy. And in dependence upon that, there is the iniyang de bacon Tibetan Shimbagarere Latmasong.
Long bro, chado long.
Diniyang de Kamgare.
Long, ta long thi hue ken long lo ji long lo.
Long. So yang de chi gi jungwa long yang.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not long.
Okay, so then there's the outer element of wind, and there's also the inner element or constituent of wind. So we have like wind, bile, and phlegm. And so the outer element of wind, which is also connected with jealousy, causes an imbalance or an increase of the wind constituent in the body, and this leads to the 101 types of illness connected with wind imbalance.
Tenen docha le chules chu you want chu chulin dube ke ta dube le du ta koran docha te yetine ko ji karsena ya ko le soyala ko chainom ro ji so biwaris. Penale hedale so gre tene ko temo le so gre ya chabo kle so gwa no chanyom kle jada jik so gres.
So then there's the afflictive emotion of desire, which also stimulates the water element, which then can lead actually to a sort of pervasive imbalance that spreads equally through all the constituents, and also can create an imbalance or an increase in the afflictive emotions as well. So anger, mental dullness, and jealousy are all equally also affected by this imbalance. And this leads to the 101 types of illness that of all the three constituents, or a combination of them.
Tene da je dan karsena ji nasa ti ko tani konfiwa na yire ji Jungkong tela ko ji kari yung yore la wina na nyong mo som yorwa ten na shimbi ke ta phu ke na ji ko ta sawan da wote mo siya dela long da chaba ke kyan song siya cha di yor ta tele tene tene ji ko na sa himba ta mo ji ko root da woji ko da Tibet medicine ko root da woji tele do.
And so this is really just to explain kind of the source, the initial source of illness, of these different types of ailments, like the root. And this is at least how it's seen in the context of Tibetan medicine. So it really is sort of based on these three constitutions, these sort of fundamental elements in the body of wind, bile, and phlegm. And all illness usually has its root in an imbalance involving one of these three. Or four, you said four? Well, all of them together too, yes.
Tinita kita book mentala tsawa te higo yoris. Lungti frequency at. Ki tola ta sajentala koji tsawa tawa say at in the higo yoris. Tinita man or women young. Savi man, Tommy man say at the koji category be totally opposite noji. Chabi or Tinita koji. Savi root the water is.
So it's really important to know what the root cause is, whether it is like a wind, bile, or phlegm illness, because the medicines that target these can be like the direct opposite. Like you have, for instance, medicines that target excessive heat or excessive cold, and these two are like opposite. So it's important to know.
I am confused, well, not confused. I'm wondering, what is the difference, according to Tibetan perspective, between what is a disease and what is a condition? Let me give an example. For example, with aging, it comes problems, and it's a combination of aging and hereditary, like thyroid, high cholesterol. Sometimes doesn't come from what way it comes to, you just have high cholesterol because it's hereditary. Or hypothyroidism of people that may have diabetes that also runs in their blood lineage. So I always thought that this could be a karmic disease.
Oh, what?
But then karmic cause disease. But then yesterday, casually, I heard this doctor called Joe Dispenza, that he is, everything he says about his way of healing and meditation sounds so Buddhist. And but then he struck me, because he said that many diseases could be healed with meditation. So some diseases could be really big problems coming from these, but those are like mild conditions that I'm not sure if are considered the same and could be healed with meditation or not.
You mean something like high cholesterol or diabetes?
Yes, but it's not something like cancer that is big,
or cancer,
or like hypothyroidism. Like hypothyroidism surrounds all my family. And I wonder.
The thyroid
hypothyroidism is super common now in women. Super common.
Dine bumo yang la greto dan dine the gonna juba migi juba la dine yung gyore tala. So what is the kind of the heart of the question?
Yes, what if do they make a distinction between those conditions which are not really considered diseases, are conditions, and the big diseases, and if these are not as bad, because we have to take a medication daily to live with that. Can we really heal them with meditation?
Then so then a chapter yorebe they ni yorwa pena cancer dawa then not a be shoot chimpoche young na then that the condition dawa pena then that the ni juba latine dine young nata damanda let yorwa dine nune pena de nata chimpo ditso dan the condition nata nune de gong yat ne dot to gre.
That's what you contribute now. You can not chubongtela go not a jig down, lady in yam the young lady.
So often there's also a combination, like according to the Tibetan system, there will be a combination of like an imbalance, an illness that is arisen out of an imbalance in the elements, and then also there's karma there. So it's a combination of karma and imbalance.
So So we have both. So right. So yes, walk it through meditation, right? So through meditation, they can cure or karmic and the mental concept can cure. But however, still need medicine. So this you are physical really sickness too. So maybe reduce, but still need to medicine. So like combination. So I said like the 50-50, you know, 50 is body sickness and 50 is like whatever karmic and also our concept. Like 25 is maybe karma. Okay. And 25 concept, imagination, whatever, just create on. So those are there is 25, maybe through practice, through meditation, maybe can cure. But 50 is real sickness, in physical sickness, and 50 is condition. So those 50, total 50, 25, right? So 50 is we rely on medicine or doctor or as a condition, okay, better eating, exercise. So those, so like me to both. Right.
Yeah, because this guy is selling this formula, you know, and I was like surprised, like he really thought he just pulled the big freak by 4 days. It's like,
Yeah, that's, I don't know, yeah, that's kind of.
I know, it sounds so incredible, but you know, it made me think maybe these conditions, at least my conditions, could be counter fight.
All right, yeah, so the yeah, need both, but it take time too, you know.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So it's false.
Mm.
Chances are.
So now,
So we are supposed to close at 3, is that correct? Yeah.
so now we should meditation, and then we come back. We so Linda by talking about the medicine with the practice, and I talking about like about generation stage. And
By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all Samsara and Nirvana, and by the innate virtue, may I and all
beings
attain
quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment.
May the teachings of the great Jigumba tree, omniscient, Lord of the Dharma,
Master of independence,
continue and increase
through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation
the end of
until the
Samsara.
young are.
thank you.
It's always really
See